What is up, everybody? An all-new edition of Craft Brewed Sports starting up here in just a minute. This week, we are drinking Maibock from HooDoo Brewing out of Fairbanks, Alaska. This one was actually muled to us by a good friend of the show, Sarah. So shout out to Sarah for bringing this one to us. Maibock from HooDoo Brewing. It is a 7% ABV beer. They say it's got hints of honey, candy sugar, and clean hops that are balanced perfectly with rich malty flavors. Comes in at 3.87 caps on Untapped. Scott, let's go to you first. We're going to be rating Maibock on the Game of Thrones scale from Ramsay Bolton all the way to Danny. Where you got on this one?
First of all, I thought it was Maibock. I thought it was like, Maibock music, and we were going to go with the Rick Ross, the roll. And so that's the first drop of the ball by me this week. But I'm going to go with a solid Rob on this one. Rob Stark, somewhere right there in the middle. Didn't get to finish out his run, but see how it holds up if I don't get red wedding.
I dig it. I dig that. Drew, on a scale from Ramsay Bolton all the way to Danny, where's this one fall for you?
What's that dragon girl? Khaleesi?
That's Danny. So you're going all the way to the top. You got this as hot fire already.
That's literally the only character I know because there was an episode that she had a dragon, she was naked. So that's, sounds good.
I think I would have to put this one at probably Jaime Lannister right about now. Like, I don't really know how it's going to go. Maybe there's some redeeming qualities. Who knows? But it may end up stabbing me in the back later on. I have no idea how this one's going to shape up. Let us know in the comments below what you guys are drinking. Rate your beers on the Game of Thrones scale from Ramsay Bolton all the way up to Danny. All new edition of Craft Brewed Sports starting up in just a second. Hey everybody, it's Wednesday night. It is time for another edition of Craft Brewed Sports. I am Mike. Hanging out with me as always is Scott. Scott, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling great, feeling good. How are you?
Fantastic. Great background this week, Scott. Perfectly fitting.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day, everybody. Braves legend Bobby Bo.
Braves legend Bobby Bonilla. Yes, happy Bobby Bonilla Day to you, Scott. Anytime you get to laugh at the Mets doing something absolutely horrible, I know it's the greatest day for you.
Hells yeah, baby.
Drew hanging out. Drew, how you feeling, man?
Not as good as Bobby, but I'm doing all right over here.
Not as good as Bobby. When did he leave the Mets? It was like 99, right?
That's what we were talking about that earlier. It was like early 2000s, I think, right, Scott?
Yeah, and he signed with the Braves. Well, he signed with the Braves in 2000. I think he signed with the Mets in like 2001. I think when the ill-fated, because he only played one season with the Braves, and I think that ill-fated contract was shortly thereafter.
I thought the Braves were after the Mets contract.
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, whatever. This is a very informed sports podcast. Everybody, Craft Brewed Sports.
Sounded good.
The content you're here for.
Make sure that you guys are sharing this show out. Help us out. If you're listening after the fact, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. Share it. Help us out. Let us know. There you go. Scott, wait a second. Scott correcting Scott for the first time ever?
Yes.
The fact checker Scott did not know that Bobby Bonilla played for the Braves. I'm shocked.
Wow.
This is a show first. I don't really know where to go from here. I don't know how to handle this. I guess we should probably just get right into on deck, I guess. Let's see, I can't even talk. How about that?
You're so thrown right now.
Very thrown.
I was wondering if it was going to be deck there for a second. You were stumbling so much.
It was me vamping. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Teasing your story, Scott.
We're on
That's all
dick,
it is. Teasing your story a little bit.
Let's give a shout out to Dugout Mugs. Baseball is back, baby. Summer camp starting up now, I guess. And If you guys want to drink out of a bat just like we do here on the show, head on over to dugoutmugs.com/craft. Get 15% off your entire order. That's all you got to do. No codes, nothing crazy. Just go to dugoutmugs.com/craft. Get yourself a bat of your favorite team. You can put your own picture on it. You can get it engraved, whatever you want to do. Hit them up, dugoutmugs.com/craft for 15% off your entire order. All right, fellas, this week for On Deck, I think I'm going to lead us off. I'm going to go ahead and lead off the show, lead off the On Deck tonight. And we talking golf, fellas. We're going to talk some golf.
Can't wait.
We're going to talk golf, kind of. So as you guys know, golf is back. There's no crowd in attendance. It's a very weird thing to see golfers like tip their caps to nobody after they make a putt. So it's a very strange viewing experience. But because there's no crowd, we talked about this in a previous story where they're doing things like miking up players, golfers, and like letting us hear their conversations, which they don't really need to do because there's microphones all over the place anyways. So if the announcers just don't talk, then you don't really need to mic up anybody and you're going to hear their whole conversation anyway. Anyways, besides the point, it's been fantastic viewing. We've heard quite a few F-bombs already as golf has come back. But we've never heard this before, and this may be the first time I've ever heard this in any sporting event. So Greg Chalmers was teeing off. This is on the first tee this past weekend. He was playing with Ian Poulter, and this is how Greg Chalmers teed off to start his 18.
That's gotta be fake, right?
That's a long drive. Long drive.
100% real. Greg Chalmers tees off, and as soon as he tees off, Ian Poulter lets it go. Fire in the hole, releases an epic. It's so epic and wet sounding. It's terrible. Like I almost feel I think we should check on Ian Poulter with what's going on down there.
Was that one of those ones though where he let it off thinking it'll be covered up by the noise, but he mistimed it, and so it's supposed to be with the whack, and instead it's like right after.
No,
like, I
because
had one of those where I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna time this one so there's a lot of noise, and instead,
right after that, and I'm not gonna play it because I don't want to get hit with copyright violations or anything like that. But right after that, he said to Chalmers, "Did you get that one?" Like he called it out, like, "Hey, did you get that one?" And Chalmers was like, "Stay over there. Stay." Flat out
Nice.
told him to stay away. Here's the best part about it: Ian Poulter and Chalmers were not mic'd up. That was just the regular microphone at the tee box, and that was
the
like,
little ones next to the tee, whatever.
yeah, just to
indicator
pick up the swing sound. That's all that was, and that picked up Ian Poulter ripping ass violently to start off.
He crushed that thing. Like he really leaned into that thing. Because here's what it probably was: is he was probably holding that for a good 45 seconds. Because the minute that Chalmers addresses the ball, Ian's probably like,
noise. Yep.
I can't do this yet.
Yep.
I got tight butthole.
Keep
tight
it-
butthole,
keep it
buddy.
booty
Just tight
tight.
butthole. That's right. That's why you do all those squats. You know what I mean? Like really tighten that up. And the minute after he finishes follow through, he's like, yes.
Oh, sweet release.
Mhm. I
And
mean, is there
also-
anything better in the world than having that sweet release?
I wish there was another camera angle because it feels like that was one where Poulter like lifted a leg and everything. Like it feels like he really
Oh,
got
yeah.
into that one. Really leaned in heavy.
the only
Ooh.
thing missing from me was get in the hole.
Yeah, why haven't they caught on to what soccer's doing and started to feed in like the Rory McIlroy soundtrack and like fed some of those in, right? Or at least had the caddies in there yelling that stuff out.
They should. Like I said,
Right?
it's very strange to see golfers like they make a putt and then they tip their cap and it's like there's nobody there, bro. This is weird.
So is it too early in the show for a sip, chug, drain, pour?
No, it's never too early for a sip, chug,
All right, let me
pour.
throw this one at you boys real quick.
Okay.
All right, so just put yourself in a situation where you've been holding it for a long time and you finally get that sweet release, right?
Okay,
Sip,
earlier today, go ahead.
Chug, drain, pour, ripping ass, taking a whiz, or emptying out number two in the toilet there.
Wow.
You've had to be clinching and holding it up. Which one is the most satisfying?
All right. So I would say I'm gonna sip dropping the deuce because there is nothing that feels better after you have had to hold it like the whole car ride home. You're in traffic. You finally get in the door and you get to unload that. That's fantastic. So I'm gonna sip that one. I'm gonna chug ripping ass because it is fun to do that, especially when it's somewhere where you're not supposed, like you're in the grocery store and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna, as soon as this lady leaves this aisle, I'm letting this one go.
How about as this lady comes into this aisle? Lay that landmine.
Then I'm gonna drain pour the peeing because whatever.
Dime a dozen, right?
Right, Scott. What do you think?
Nope, because I drink over a gallon of water a day, so I'm sipping peeing because I got to do it all the time. And I swear I'm always, you want to talk about getting caught in the car, it's always me sprinting to the door and it's like, yeah. So I'm going to sip peeing. I'm going to chug dropping a deuce because clearly that's it. And I'm gonna drain pour the farts because I let them go anytime. I never hold them in. You can ask my wife, she gets mad at me, so I don't care about when or where for that one, so I'll drain pour that.
See, we're going to be in complete opposition here. And yeah, Ed, what did you log into?
Yeah,
this is high quality sports talk right here. That's what this is, Ed.
Matt Barr on my side. He said the same exact thing.
We all know Matt Barr's judgments is questionable. So I think the right answer here is definitely sip taking the deuce because you've avoided catastrophe. Because if you don't hold that in and you don't hit the mark, you got a real big mess on your hands. So you sip the deuce. You chug the pee, and then you drain pour the ripping ass because do that anytime. Like you should never have to hold that in, even if someone's addressing a ball on the golf tee. Like that's an act of God. That's like a bird chirping in the background. That's just nature, man.
I'm also silent but deadly with mine, so I'm like never make noise. Yeah. So I don't care. It's like by the time they figure it out, I'm gone.
All right, there you go, everybody. Ian Poulter ripping ass leads us to a conversation about shitting, pissing, and farting. So there you go.
Can't wait till the big network picks us up.
I know. I don't know why we're not more popular, guys. What the hell?
This is the quality content America needs.
Drew, since you led us on that sip, chug, drain, pour, why don't you step up to the plate next? You're on deck.
Charge. All right. So it's a little short story this week, but at the same time, this is something I'm pretty sure everyone has dreamed of doing and have thought of ways that they wish they could, clap back at their rivals like this. Not sure if you guys saw it or not this week, but the creator of NBA Jam actually came out and admitted that he put stuff into the original game that back in the day, if you were the Bulls playing the Pistons, because he's from Michigan, was a huge Pistons fan and working in Chicago at the time, he put in changes to the software so that if you were the Bulls and playing the Pistons, you would miss every last second shot in the fourth quarter, period, in the sentence. So the Pistons were still guaranteed to have the win. And I got to tell you, man, I have so much mad respect for this guy because of the level of petty he was at. It's got nothing to do with our shared heritage of Michigan. Like, I would straight up respect this if it was flipped. If it is a Bulls fan cheating the Pistons or any other team for that matter. I just love and respect that man taking it in his own hands to just throw that level of shade against his rival that forever will be there in eternity. The only issue I have is I cannot get my hands on a copy of this game to try it out myself. Like in the ESPN video where they interviewed the guy and he announced it, they actually had a clip that showed the clock accelerating. So dude takes a shot with like 5 seconds left in the half second it takes for it to get in the bucket. Like time expires just magically and the Pistons win. That's fantastic. Amazing. But I need to try this out for myself.
Matt Barr commenting that is the peak of Team Petty, and Ed saying, I knew it. This dude owes me about 14 controllers.
I was going to say too, the other part about that is like, where was this guy decades ago? When I could have known this going into any game with my friends and just like leverage that. Well, that's why
you can't. Can't let that out early. Like you got to wait. I feel like he waited the appropriate amount of time to let this, because nobody's playing NBA Jam anymore. Like you're not playing that original game.
Are you kidding? I mean, if I could, I would.
If you could, you would, but you're not, because where are you getting it? Where are you getting it?
Well, I mean, I guess you could get that shit's like $100 per.
I guess you could get an emulator, but like you don't, like they don't make it anymore. You can't get it. This is the way to do it. Wait till it's done and then be like, yeah, by the way, deuces Chicago. That's what I did.
Well, the only thing about the theory that anybody would be able to still, do it, I'll take the Bulls, and I'm not worried about no last second shot because I'm up by a lot. So you can have whoever you want. You can have another. He didn't code it to where you'd have more points than me. So skills kills, baby. I ain't worried about no. Code.
I don't want to hear nothing about your skills, Scott, because they still have the Jordan rules where you go and do that whack, 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 whack. You know, when you're stealing the ball, right? I could just sit there and beat you up all game. You ain't getting no points. You ain't getting no points on Isaiah and the Bad Boys.
Son, I'm still beating you. I don't need it.
I love that he also in that same interview, he was addressing the fact that Jordan didn't sign up for his, like, he wouldn't give his likeness to the game, so that's why he's not included in it. And he was like, yeah, he thought he could make more money licensing his name on his own, and he was totally right in that. Like, totally acknowledged that yes, Jordan not signing off. Right. Yeah, Jordan not signing off to be in the game was such a good move on Jordan's part. Also, if Jordan's in that game, do you think he codes it to cheat even more for the Pistons? Like, he makes it where Jordan misses more dunks than he should?
I would rather see him just have Jordan blow an ankle in the first quarter of every game.
I mean, let's be honest. It kind of, and people were still the Bulls, like I was still the Bulls, but it kind of made it fair that Jordan wasn't in the game, if you think about it, because I mean, it would have been a game breaker. It was already kind of ridiculous when you had, BJ Armstrong and Pippen. So it kind of leveled the playing field. And, I mean, as much as I played as the Bulls, there was times where it was just like, I mean, without Jordan, I mean, let's try somebody else.
Right. So let's go Sean Kemp. That was the other go-to. If I wasn't the Bulls, I would go with the Sonics and be Sean Kemp.
Really? See, as much as I hate him, I was the Jazz. I'd be like, all right, let me get Stockton Malone.
That's a good combo.
Malone wearing his shorts up to his titties.
Also, if I was the Bulls, the combo was always Pippen and Ho Grant. It wasn't
really. See, I always went Armstrong and Pippen.
No, I BJ would be my second half player, but I would always start off with Pippen and Ho Grant. That's how I. That's how I did.
See, you got to start the first half with the BJ and then ease your way into everything else.
Start with the BJ and then go to the Ho. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And there's your drop for the show, Mike. Nice.
Scott, you are on deck.
And I will smack Scott's face in NBA Jam.
We need to figure this out because I do want to see you two play NBA Jam.
It can't be that hard. The NHL figured out how to do it online.
There you go. Ed's got the hookup for us. He's got the link. We are going to figure out how to set this up and broadcast it live so that you two can play NBA Jam against each other.
Craft Brewed Sports comes to Twitch, y'all.
We're going to do it.
Well, that was a good that BJ segue was pretty solid because my story this week, what a doozy. So we talked about Mia Khalifa, the love of Mike's life that's lost. She's still out there, but doesn't look like it's going to happen. But this week, a man with a lot of time on his hands took it upon himself to step up and give us the list that we deserve. Twitter user @SimpPilgrim, which also has to be one of the all-time great Twitter handles, ranked 370 porn stars of all time, not just of today, of all time. The only problem with his list is he gave no criteria. Dude just dropped 370 names with numbers next to them and walked off. Gave no explanation and even said before he released it, 370 porn stars, not up for debate. Then released the list and didn't say a word afterwards. I don't know if that's gangster or ridiculous. I'm not really sure. But I've never ranked 370 anythings. I don't even know 370 things to rank.
No, that's a lot.
It's dedication to the nth degree. And I mean, I don't know anything about, I'm not sure about you guys, but I don't know anything about porn. So I'm not even sure, some of these names, his number one was Mia Malkova. I'm not sure who that is.
Is that Mia Khalifa's sister?
Could be. I don't know. There was some outrage. I guess people were a little upset that somebody named that Sarah J made the top 10. I don't know about. I'm not sure who that is. Jenna Jameson seemed pretty low. I've heard about her in a couple of movies, legit movies, but yeah, it's a really strange list. I'm not sure that the consensus is that anybody agrees with it, but that's probably what this dude wanted, right? He just ranked a bunch of names and then left it out there, hoping that the porn stars would see their names and probably tweet them and retweet them and do all that. But again, dedication, no matter what his criteria was. Like, I want to talk to this guy.
That's what I'm confused about.
We need to get him on. Just be like, look, what were you? How were you ranking? What were you doing when you ranked them?
I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that. I don't want to know.
Do you have movies or specific clips and how you rank them? Like, I just got to know.
How many Kardashians made the cut?
I saw no Kardashians in my glance through.
I looked at the article you posted in our group rundown, and I literally just control find Mia Khalifa wasn't on the list. I was like, this list is garbage. That's the only name I cared to see on here.
Well, I will say that our good friend from Boy Meets World, Maitland Ward, she made the top 25, which is pretty impressive since she's only been doing porn this calendar year or like the end of last year. So, I mean,
she's
that's
only got like 75 films under her belt.
I mean, that's got to be a pretty big upset. Stormy Daniels came in at 37, so President Trump should be pretty excited about that he's tapped number 37 on this guy's list. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting list. If you got a chance, you should check it out. Maybe tweet at him, see if we got to get him to come out and explain himself.
I would like to. I just want to know how he figured out that they had names. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was just like stepsister. I thought every porn star was just named stepsister.
Blonde number 3.
From what I've heard, I thought they were all MILF.
You're behind the times, Scott. You're behind the times, bro.
Gotta catch up,
but that's the problem, man. I don't like this dude. He clearly ranked. He's got recency bias, and it's awful. Like, I don't even know most of his top 10, but the fact that Lisa Anna's at 94 is egregious. Or, if I watched porn, I would think it was egregious. But
perfect time
to 2 first names clearly is quality, right?
No doubt. I mean, she got the Notre Dame kid. Who was it?
Mike,
that was
play us into that sponsorship segment.
It's a perfect time to thank Dugout Mugs again. Again, dugoutmugs.com/craft, 15% off your entire order. They support the show even with the ridiculousness that you just sat through for the last 20 minutes. So thank you, Dugout Mugs, for sponsoring us. Go hook them up, dugoutmugs.com/craft. All right, fellas, here's what we are going to do for our first segment tonight. It is time to revisit an old favorite. This is something that the fans just absolutely love. And with some news that came out over the last week, we decided that we had to do this one this week. So with that being said, Scott.
As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Do that hockey, Scott.
I was gonna say what we should try to do though is do a segment where we combine Scott naming black hockey players and Scott naming porn stars, and we could throw it at him and be like, "Is this a porn star name or a hockey name?" Sorry, I forgot about that. I'll let Scott do that hockey now. Though, my bad, bro.
Do that hockey, Scott.
I'm gonna throw a little tidbit out there for you. I can name more black hockey players than I can name black porn stars. Anyway, the draft lottery for this year is complete chaos thanks to COVID, which is pretty much screwed up everything. But the way they did everything this year, a playoff team it has the potential to somehow get the number 1 pick.
Playoff?
I guess. Yeah, playoff. So Drew, was it 20 teams made the playoffs? And,
I don't know. Scott, how many teams made the playoffs?
20.
Okay. I don't think
how
that's
many
right.
teams make the playoffs normally?
16?
Hey, all right. Short-term memory still there, apparently.
Yeah.
And also, I'm pretty sure it was 24 teams, right? Wasn't it 24 teams that made it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I was close. But as they get eliminated, the first 8 that get eliminated has a chance, and that they all have like a 12% chance to get the number 1 pick.
So hold on. Let's do a little bit of Xavier math here, Scott. 8 times 12.
I'm out. Go on.
Yeah, no, it adds up. You're right. Yeah, so all
right, cool.
Because of the way the draft pulled, because the pick went to someone who got eliminated. Yes, you're right.
Fantastic.
So you're telling me, Scott, that a playoff team is going to be the number 1 pick? Not necessarily the Stanley Cup winner. Like, you can't win the Stanley Cup and get the number 1 pick, right? That's not possible.
No, it's the first 8 teams that are eliminated out of this 20-team pool or 24-team pool. 24.
24 teams that are trying to do what for the playoffs?
Win the Stanley Cup.
qualify. Correct answer, Scott. Yes. There's 8 teams trying to qualify for the 16-team playoff.
Cool. Well,
So from the 8 teams that don't make it out of qualifying,
look, somebody's going to get the first overall pick, and somebody's going to win the Stanley Cup, or
and
COVID's going to shut
someone's
it
going
all
to pick
down.
a white Canadian dude to play hockey for him.
Now, Scott,
Yes.
in a regular year, what are the odds that a team that's like the last team out of the playoffs gets the number 1 pick? Like, what would that team's odds be?
40% maybe. I don't know.
40%. They
Detroit-
got a 40% chance of getting the number 1 pick if you are the last team out of the play, like the number 17 team. You got a 40% chance at the number 1 pick.
Detroit screwed the pooch 4 years in a row, though. I saw where they're like they've missed the playoffs and had the best odds to
Good
get
pivot,
it. 4
good
years in a
pivot.
row, they haven't done it.
You're a dick.
Good pivot.
But he's not wrong because we have screwed the pooch. Now, because I had to actually Google this myself, I didn't want to throw Mike under the bus because I want to see Scott squirm. But damn, son, that's a hard-ass question.
It is a hard question, but he's
It is a hard
he's the
question.
hockey expert on the show. I was
That's
trying
right.
to. That's
Did,
why.
did I get the number right? Was I right?
No, I don't know, and I know it's not 40%.
Well, it sounded good on paper.
Always good on paper. No, so the first team to miss the playoffs has a 1% chance of winning the number 1 overall pick in the lottery.
There you go, Scott. Slightly off, just off by 39%.
I misunderstood the question. I thought you
but
meant
again,
who
though-
the last place to be. I thought you meant like the Detroit of the
the
draft, or like
worst.
whoever was the
Oh,
worst
the
team. That's
worst
what I thought.
team.
The Detroit of the draft, not even the last pick, just the Detroit.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah,
Detroit
the Detroit of the
You know,
draft.
the shithole of the country, the Detroit of the draft.
Because if they're not picking first hockey, they're picking top 3 in football.
Hey, we made the playoffs once, that one time.
Yeah.
And we only ruined Barry Sanders and Herman Moore's careers. No big deal.
And don't forget Megatron.
Oh, God, that's right. Megatron. Well, he had concussions. He's got to keep himself sane. Detroit did, though, in all fairness, have an 18.5% chance to get the number 1 overall pick this year and still got the 4th overall pick. So
Now,
go Wings.
Scott, in hockey, like I know in football, pretty much if you're a first rounder, you're a really good talent. But then you get like NBA, where unless you're a lottery pick, outside of that, it's kind of a crapshoot. How does it work in hockey? Like, do you need that number 1 pick to guarantee yourself like, or top 3, let's say, or the top 3, the only solid choices, and everybody else after that is like, well, I guess we'll see what happens? Or is it more along that NFL style where it's like, yeah, first round, it doesn't matter as long as you're like, near the front, you're getting tops.
Most
Like they're gonna
years,
pan out.
I know there's somebody that everyone's gunning for. There's always that one guy, the Ovechkin or the Crosby.
The Baker Mayfield of the draft.
Yeah, yeah. There's always that one guy that everybody's talking about, but I think there's been a couple in there where there's maybe a second guy at least where there's like a booby prize. But I think after that, it's not as bad as the NBA where there's a like they fall off the cliff, but there are usually like two to 3 guys that are clear cream of the crop, and then everybody else kind of fades down from there. But it's nowhere near as bad as the NBA.
All right,
So-
good.
It's somewhere in the middle of the 2 leagues.
So Scott, I guess if that's the case, then like, what would you think the odds are? What is the draft prospect outlook of a guy drafted in the 9th round?
Pretty shitty.
I would say so because there's only 7 rounds, so that would make sense.
Well, exactly. So if you got drafted in the 9th round, somebody played a trick on you.
Scott, what's the other big hockey news that came out just today?
That they might not play because of COVID.
Nope, not that. What else came out today that I put in the doc for you to talk about also in this spot?
I don't need no
Damn.
stinking doubt.
All right, so there was some CBA. They're hammering out the details for the CBA, and good news, everybody! The NHL is likely going back to the Olympics. 2022.
Oh, you know what? I did see that headline somewhere.
Yeah, 2022.
The doc, idiot.
Basically.
No, it wasn't the doc.
Scott
I got a
doesn't.
text.
Scott doesn't do show prep. Come on. But yeah, they basically, it's part of the collective bargaining, and it looks like it's going to pass, and we are going to see NHL players back into the Olympics, hopefully as early as 2022, which is fantastic news if there is Olympics and we're not all dead by that point. That'd be
Well, I was
great.
just gonna say, it's news to me that there's a 2022 Olympics. I know it got canceled. I was sitting there the other day and I was like, man, the Olympics would be happening right now. They just canceled them. What the hell ever happened to them?
They moved it
Wait,
to
did
next
they?
year.
They canceled?
They
I thought
moved
they
it.
moved
They
them.
moved it to next year, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But they
Okay,
said,
so they did move them to next year
Yeah.
tentatively.
yeah, which means
So
we're
then,
gonna get.
but then are they going to get back on their every 4-year schedule? Like, so then whether we want
think
in
it'll
3
be
years or
3
would they
years,
just
yeah.
go 4 years from there?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
Greece
over
can
3
only
years.
supply fire for us to light the Olympic torch once every 4 years. Like it takes that long to light.
So
the
what do they
torch.
do with the extra fire from this year then? I mean, that means they got to do something with it, right?
They're burning corpses.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Although I will say, so reading in the chat here, Tyson had a very high quality question here, digging deep. He wanted to know, Scott, what do you think about the lack of U.S. born players in the top 10 of the draft, I'm assuming, especially after the way U.S. development team ruled last year's draft? He'll take your answer off here.
No, take his answer right now.
I don't know. I think there's a bigger lack of black players, period. How about that? I don't want to know about U.S. players. I just want to know where all the black guys are at.
Patrick Subban's trying to fix that, man. He's working hard. Him and his brother.
Well, yeah.
I mean, blood brother, too. Like, not the euphemism. Like,
Evander Kane can't do it all.
No, he can't, but he can fight everyone. I'll tell you what. So, funny story. When I was in high school, we actually went to school with all the USA hockey players. And I'll tell you what, those guys were dumb as brick. But they could play some hockey. Let me tell you what. It was fun to watch. I actually, what's his name? Patrick
Wait,
Kane.
are you suggesting that the rest of the world, they're like smart and they play hockey? Because I don't think that's the case either. I mean, I think for the
Yeah,
most
have you
part, you're
talked-
dumb as brick and then you can play hockey. Like,
Have you talked
a
to
lot of
Alex
athletes.
Ovechkin?
Have
That could-
I? No, I've never spoken to Alex Ovechkin.
Oh, that's unfortunate. He's got a lot of insight, man. He really knows Russian literature inside and out. He
I know he's
dabbles in
missing two
philosophy a little
teeth.
bit too, but who needs teeth when you got a Stanley Cup title and however many 60-goal seasons under your belt?
How many
I was
60
really
goal
hoping he
seasons?
didn't win that.
How many 60 goal seasons does he have, Scott?
7.
There you go. This is Scott doing that hockey.
Saying hockey, let's do that hockey.
Do that hockey.
All right.
I nailed that hockey.
You killed it as always, Scott. You are just fantastic when it comes to doing that hockey. I appreciate your commitment to the show, the commitment to the sport that you love.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go out and scout next year's draft.
While Scott's doing that, we're going to give a shout out to More Labs. Listen, everybody, get 20% off your order at morelabs.com. Use the code SPORTS. They've got drinks that are going to help you recover from your hangover, stuff that's going to help you get to sleep, stuff that's going to help you focus during the day. When you're reading show prep, you can pop one of these and you'll be insanely focused on the material that is put in the show for you to review prior to going live on the air. You can do all of that. Morelabs.com. Use the code SPORTS for 20% off your entire order.
I feel like I was set up.
Hey, so Mike, like, how long until they get a pre-workout for you?
I
'Cause,
need
you be getting swollen at gym. Like, they need to help a brother out, right?
They definitely do. I could use a little pre-workout from More Labs. I would consume that without a doubt. All right, fellas. It's my favorite time of the year. This weekend, July 4th holiday. Get your hot dog. It is time for Hot Diggity Dog. This is the segment where I'm going to break down the Nathan's hot dog eating contest for you. Everything you need to know about the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Guys, this year, unbelievable set of circumstances that are going on this year. So first of all, first time that there will be no spectators at the event. We're not going to be at the corner of Sitwell and Surf. George Shea is not going to be out on a big platform above the crowd yelling and getting people all fired up. There's also only going to be 5 contestants instead of the regular 15, and they're going to do it indoors. So what does that mean? Air conditioning. Bet the over. That's what I'm telling you on that one. Joey Chestnut has the record, 74 hot dogs. Now he doesn't have to deal with the heat. He's going to be able to do it in the air conditioning. Bet the over. I think he breaks the record. Let's break down some of these competitors that are going to be here. Matt Stoney was supposed to be there. Now, Matt Stoney, if you guys remember last year, he was the one that I picked to upset Joey Chestnut. I will never make that mistake again.
Idiot.
Yeah, Matt Stoney
he a
failed
bitch, man.
miserably last year. He failed horribly, but he will not be in this year's contest because New York is now requiring people that come from certain states to quarantine for 14 days. And since Matt Stoney is from California, he is not able to come and quarantine in time, so he is out. He was replaced by Nick Wary. He's the number 8 eater in the world. Here's one of the things that Nick Wary has accomplished. He once ate 11 pounds of strawberry shortcake in 8 minutes. This dude's a big, I mean, number 8 in the world is pretty solid. It's not number 3 like Matt Stoney is, but it's a pretty solid ranking here. Also, out of the contest.
Imagine doing that and still only being the 8th best person in the world at this. Good God.
I mean, imagine being the 8th best person in the world at anything. I'm not the 8th best person in the world at being myself right now. Like, how the hell do you pull that shit off?
It's it's pretty impressive what these guys do. Gideon OG also out of the contest. Gideon OG was a sleeper pick. Everybody thought he might be able to make a run. He's the number 5 ranked eater in the world. He's out because he's from North Carolina, and again, COVID and the quarantine, all that stuff. So he's been replaced by George Chiger. George Chiger is currently ranked number 12. He has no records under his belt, but he did tweet out a picture of that dude that sits at the table where it's like, change my mind, and he said, George Chiger is going to win the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. Change my mind. Very bold strategy for somebody with only 250 Twitter followers to do when he's going up against Joey Chestnut. I think he's going to get blown out. Darren Breeden is probably the guy that's going to give the best chance. He came in second last year to Joey Chestnut. But if you remember correctly, last year he only ate like 50 hot dogs. He lost by 21 hot dogs.
What a bitch.
Yeah, second
50
place.
hot dogs?
Exactly. What is this?
Don't even show your face.
What is this?
Right?
The 10-minute time? Like, what are we doing here, Breeden? So he's the other guy that may. But here's the deal, guys. Joey's not losing.
Why are we wasting hot dogs on these other people that Joey could be eating?
That's a good question. That's
Right?
a great question. There's no way this dude beats Joey. However, the question is not going to be, will Joey win? It's by how many. They have odds on the
They should
spread.
have just put Joey in a room by himself and seen if he could get to 75. They should have just said, this is a quest for 75.
They kind of did, right? There's only 5 other people.
They did,
in it,
but I mean, they should have
So
just
wait.
skipped everything else.
How would you rather do this though? Like, would you rather say, all right, look, Joey, you got 75 hot dogs. We want to see how fast you can eat them, or like, we want to see how many you can eat.
No. You got to do it within the time period.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to have the timer on it.
So real quick, before I get into this conversation, because this is a very good conversation to have, I just want to go over some of Breeden's qualifications, and this is why people think he could make a run at Joey Chestnut. He once ate 48 Oreos and a half a gallon of whole milk in 2 minutes and 28 seconds. And he ate...
What the...
Oh my God.
What?
Yeah.
No, rewind that. Go again.
48 Oreos and a half a gallon of whole milk.
How many Oreos are in a
God.
pack?
That's a lot of sleeves of Oreos. I don't know the...
If you get the family
number.
size, 48 is a little bit over that, I think.
I feel like that's like 1.5.
Also,
'Cause
I
here's
don't
the
know
thing,
if this
man.
is
I could put
regular
that
or
down
were they
in a
double
night.
stuffed or mega stuffed. If they were regular, not as impressive
2
as if they were
minutes?
mega stuffed. But yeah, that's 2 minutes and 28 seconds. He also ate
What?
5 pounds.
What could you do 48 times in 2 minutes? Because I can't think of shit.
I don't know, but I bet that dude with that list could do something 48 times.
Up, down, up, down, up, down. Still though, 2 minutes. That's a long period of time.
48 Oreos and a half a gallon of whole milk. That's the other thing. Like, he downed a whole half gallon of milk as well.
Well, you'd have to keep it all lubricated.
That's a good point. 5 pounds. He once ate 5 pounds and 2 ounces of fresh cheese curds at the Wisconsin State Fair. This was back in 2018. He
God.
did that in 6 minutes. So the guy's got a future, but he's no Joey Jaws, is what I'm saying.
He doesn't have a future. He's got a heart disease coming. There's not much of a future.
Did these guys get a C-section after some of these competitions? Because 5 pounds, 2 ounces of cheese curds makes me feel like you ain't shitting that out and you ain't puking it.
It's
So,
gonna be a rough night, is what that's gonna be.
Yeah.
So here's
What's
my
up,
question.
Robert Taylor? Good to see you. Glad you got that nap in.
Here's my question to you guys when it comes to this. And hey, Robert, if Joey wins this, do we put an asterisk by it?
No,
No.
Joey wins this.
This is
true,
the
when Joey
only
wins this.
like sports league or any competitive thing that's happening this year that we don't have to put an asterisk next to.
But we do.
Because
He's not
No,
out in the
no,
heat.
no.
He's not out in the heat. He doesn't have
The air conditioning, I agree.
14 other people pushing him. There's only 4
no,
people.
the only way we
No.
put an asterisk next to it is if he blows by it and goes like 82 or
No,
something
no.
like that, and then we're like, okay, well, he had a boost. But
Okay, so let's say
if he's
he
still
gets-
if he's still in the same ballpark, nah.
Let's say he gets 75. You're saying that record is legit, even though
Yep.
it was aided by air conditioning, and you're saying the championship is fine, even though 2 of the top 5 eaters in the world aren't there because of COVID.
This is like
Okay.
one of those exhibition matches in wrestling, though. You're not actually you have the belt, but you're not actually defending it. Like it's just there.
I don't.
No, so here's the thing.
Like it doesn't
Scott,
tarnish his championship.
Like usual, Scott's wrong because all of this other crap has nothing to do with it. The key is the climate-controlled environment. I do think that does factor
huge.
in.
That's
all these other
huge.
sports, all these other sports not having fans it's weird, but it weighs a factor, right? Like having a home crowd does actually statistically provide an advantage for a team. Now, nothing else here. I don't give a shit about these other people. Joey competes against Joey. All these other clowns are just there to make their sponsors happy and like make a living.
So then it shouldn't matter who's there competing against him. Like
It doesn't.
that.
The thing is that he's going to be inside in air conditioning, as Mike said. It's not going to be 80% humidity. It's not going to be sun beating down at 85 degrees.
But that's
He's gonna
stupid.
be-
Nobody holds it against guys who played on teams who played in a dome and said,
Yeah,
"Well,
but-
that
no,
wasn't
see, but
natural
but see, Scott,
grass."
you're completely missing the point. This competition is
Ty?
always outside in the summer heat every single year on Coney Island in
Also,
New York, where it's balls ass hot and
Scott,
humid as
you are
tits.
forgetting too that if somebody sets the world record in the 100-meter dash, but they were aided by wind, they notate that
true.
it was aided by wind. This is aided by air conditioning. If he sets
It
the
is
record,
heavily.
if he sets the record, it can't be recognized. I'm sorry, guys,
If
it
he
can't be
If he
recognized.
sets the record, I'm gonna tell my kids where I was.
And your kid's gonna be like, Daddy, we want to watch Trolls, and you're gonna fucking remember it anyways.
This has been Hot Diggity Dog. I can't find the drop. Whatever, it's fine.
It's fine. I do have a question though. Like, why can't we get a true coney eating competition with some chili in this business?
How
Like,
many?
To me, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see Joey Chestnut.
How many
step up to
could
the
he
next
do?
level with
Yeah.
this, right.
How many could
I
he
wanna
do if
see
it
you
was a
either throw some
Cincinnati
mustard
Coney?
in there, or I want you to throw some chili in there / meat sauce, and like show me what you about, Joey. I'm tired of seeing you like wolf down Nathan's and buns. Like,
I
that's
would like
old
to see,
news.
you know how they have to like finish the bun? I would love to see Joey Chestnut trying to eat a coney and all the cheese is falling off and then he has to like scoop handfuls of cheese or else it doesn't count as a full coney. That would
Oh
be
my God.
amazing.
I hope that's how I die, is scooping cheese and coney into my face. That's how I want to go out right now.
No, you're gonna die losing to me at NBA Jam, son.
Damn. All right.
No, because I'm gonna
let's,
cheat, motherfucker.
let's-
Get out of here with that.
let's go into this alternate
I'll find all the
reality.
cheat codes.
Let's go into this alternate reality here for a second, fellas. Pat Forde from Sports Illustrated, he has envisioned some new NCAA football conferences.
Pretty sure it's Pat Forde, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay. I was gonna correct him too, but
No,
I was
I'm
like,
going
no,
to.
let me
I
get this.
always correct Mike whenever, especially on pronunciation.
Guys, I know what I said. I said 40. You didn't hear that. You heard
Cool.
what you wanted to hear.
I feel like that's the conspiracy here, is us not hearing you correctly.
You are wrong in this case. I said what
Okay,
I said.
cool.
It's fine. But nobody else heard it either, though. That's the thing. It's all nobody heard this one.
Checking the comments.
Anyways, so here's
Robert Taylor says he wishes nap was longer now.
you don't want
You and
hot dog
everybody else,
eating
bro.
contest, bro. Hot dog eating contest talk. That's what everybody wants to hear. All right,
That's
let's,
quality. That's 4th of July, bro.
dude. It's America. All right.
Stop being non-American.
Right? That's what I'm saying. All right, here's what he had to say about the what he envisions would be a great way to realign college football. So he's saying you take 120 schools, 11 current FBS members get relegated to FCS, and then one gets brought up from FCS. So he's getting rid of like Bowling Green, New Mexico State, San Jose State, Coastal Carolina, Troy, Liberty, those types of schools. But he says we can reevaluate relegation and promotion every 3 years. I'm cool with that. I like that idea. So he says 10 leagues, each one has 12 members. Each is designed to maximize proximity and reduce travel demands and costs. He says everybody in football would play all 11 teams that are in your conference, and then one out-of-conference player or one out-of-conference team. There is a representative from each conference in the playoffs plus 2 at large, and then you get you get a full expanded playoffs at that point. Still be bowl games for teams that don't make it to the college football playoffs, and then he says it will work for other sports as well. So before we get into these teams, what do you guys think about this idea of realigning the conferences? Because
Love it.
for the longest time we were going towards like super conferences, right? And now he's saying shrink them down.
I fucking love it, man. I love it. I love every piece about it. And I'll summarize it real quick. Illinois, Kentucky, Louisville, Northern Illinois, Middle Tennessee State, Marshall, Northwestern Tennessee, West Virginia, Western Kentucky, Vanderbilt are all the chump ass fools that Notre Dame's gonna beat the shit out of every single year in every single sport. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's do this.
Notre Dame did get
so many conference titles. So many conference titles, like all day.
Very favorable path to the playoffs.
That's
Scott,
all I care about.
Scott,
yeah.
what do you think about that? I know you're very big on playoff expansion. Do you think this would be the way to do it?
I absolutely love this idea, and I love it even more because, of course, Notre Dame fans think that they'd have some type of cakewalk, and it'd be nice to see chump-ass Notre Dame actually join a conference instead of being little bitches and sitting at home with
we got
an NBC
all our money
contract.
is ours, bro.
All our money is ours. Yeah, all your money is yours, except
That's
for
right.
it never comes in the form of championship money. Why? Because y'all stub your
needs titles
toe
when you get
every
paid?
single year. So I mean. So they'll still find a way to lose 2 games and everything will be right.
Ain't no one else getting titles besides Saban and William Sweeney.
But on a serious note, though, I mean, it forces all these teams that schedule nobodies throughout the year or have these unbalanced schedules and everything to actually play like a balanced schedule where they've got to play everybody in the conference and they're not just scheduled like it makes things a little bit more fair. Plus, you've got the little guys who have this actual legit shot, so we don't have to worry about USF, the bigger schools not wanting to schedule them,
right?
Because now they're forced.
Well,
to
and
play
not
because
only
they're
that,
in
you're in conference, so every other year you get those teams at home. Like think about Notre Dame has to go to Marshall to play every other year. Like they got to go play.
So Notre Dame has to
Middle
stop
Tennessee.
ducking Marshall.
I know. I wish they would stop ducking Marshall. I mean, we know everybody's clamoring for that Notre Dame Middle Tennessee matchup at Middle Tennessee, but Notre Dame's just too afraid to pull the trigger on that one. Let's take a look at some of these teams and conferences that
real quick before we dive in though, Mike. The thing that I think is interesting and I'd love to see is how it works out is the economics of it, right? Like. Because you could
That's where it doesn't work.
See, right, exactly. Like you can't have Notre Dame go to Marshall and fill a 30,000 person stadium and have it make sense.
It still makes sense. Why wouldn't that make sense?
Because they're missing out on like $70,000 or 70,000 people in ticket sales.
But that's Marshall's fault. Then build if you know you have Tennessee, Notre Dame, Louisville, UK coming every other year, build a better stadium. You know what I mean? Like this actually gives those teams a chance to come up with better facilities and get bigger crowds that they normally don't get,
That does kind of make some sense too, though, because the other aspect of it, and again, my understanding of the way college sports works is honestly one of the worst things is travel.
Right. And that's why he grouped these
region. And so if you can save on those buses and planes to get people there, then maybe that's where you make up the difference.
And think about it. This isn't just football. He's saying this could be for all sports. So your like men's golf team now doesn't have to travel if you're UC and you got to go play whoever on the other side because UC's got some weird conference alignments, right? Like there's some geographical
the AAC
issues.
Is just hot ass shit.
So they like the non-revenue sports now are saving a ton of money because you're not traveling across the country for a match that nobody goes to.
Well, but the good news is that COVID cut out those teams anyway, so
that's
you don't
have
to worry about it anymore.
All right, well, let's
be honest though. Anything to shake things up and fix college football because it's starting to get out of hand with the whole, the power conferences just colluding and forming these super leagues and everything pretty much getting washed out. So this levels the bad thing.
Field. Like, let's be honest. How many of these level playing field teams are going to win?
Okay, but
right?
that's fine. That's fine. Then the cream will still rise to the top, right? All these teams that are supposedly great and powerhouses, they shouldn't have to worry. Then they'll still be able to win all their games again. Oh, but wait, that's right. There's the chance that they don't, or that they could lose, and then they get all pissy and worried about it. Like, look at how great the Great Midwest Conference is. Like, that's some exciting.
What the fuck? Why are we calling one of these the Yankee Conference? Jesus Christ, Pat Forde, get this shit together, Yankee asshole.
But I do like the one that's called the Deep South.
The Deep South, yeah. That one is the one that's just.
That's my favorite conference.
Should we just rename that COVID country now? Is that how we should do that?
Also, I just love the idea idea that all the analysts on ESPN now have to put on their capes for the Sun Belt Conference and really push hard to talk about how tough and rugged that Sun Belt Conference is because they got Bama and Auburn and LSU.
That's actually legit, though.
It's a really good one. But I want to hear Kirk Herbstreit go, guys, it's the Sun Belt. Like, yeah, it's a grind.
I conversely want to hear all the whiners who'd be like, oh, it's Sunbelt bias.
Exactly, Matt Forde. Might as well call it the Confederate Conference. Yeah, we need to get rid of those euphemisms. Microaggressions are not acceptable here. But I will say, I would love to see Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, LSU, Miss State, and then, Memphis every once in a while pops up. The issue, the reason why this would never work is TV deals.
Ooh, yeah, I mean,
I don't know because here's
that nixes it, but it would just change.
I disagree. I disagree. Yeah, it just changes how this goes.
Because they don't all expire at the same time. Because every conference has their own TV package deal, so you'd somehow have to get CBS, ESPN, whatever. They'd all have to figure out how they're like, look, we're all supposed to end at these times. We're going to cut it and reallocate all of this, and that shit ain't ever gonna happen.
No, because here's how it goes. Like,
try to see a bunch of white billionaires play nicely together, and basically you're recreating the baseball offseason.
But if you look at how this is broken up, like, all right, if you're looking at SEC teams and their deal right now, the good SEC teams are all in the Sun Belt. The crappy ones have been moved to the Mid-American. So you just, hey, you got the Sun Belt now. Like, you just shift the focus a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, because that's how the negotiations go. But like, hey, you got this thing now. Cool.
Wait, you telling me that
Matt Barr's
are you telling me
like pinned to me? Like, get this out of here.
Are you telling me that ESPN, if they went up to ESPN and they were like, listen, we're doing this shift. I know you got the SEC deal, but now you're going to get the Sun Belt instead, and you got Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Mississippi State, and you get that for football and basketball and any other sport you want to air. You think ESPN's going to be like, no, exactly? They're going to jump at that chance. Are you kidding me? Like, sorry, you don't have UK anymore. ESPN's going to be flipping tables. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Are you kidding me? I'm not doing it without UK.
Yeah.
Now, come basketball season, they'll be a little salty.
That's what I'm saying. Like, exactly. Like, are you joking me right now? Like, come on, man.
No, they don't care. They don't care.
They ain't giving up a dime. And
they don't care because all they care about
is uncertainty. They don't know how many people are going to watch these.
They don't care about basketball regular season. All they care about is the tournament, bro.
You know what else is funny about this?
How many rednecks in Kentucky watch UK basketball every single game on a Tuesday night?
I understand that, but I'm saying they don't care. Do you know how many rednecks in Alabama watch football? And they'll watch every Alabama game. You could replay every Alabama game 24. Your schedule could look like MTV's this weekend with ridiculousness on repeat every single minute for like the next 4 days, and it could just be Alabama football and every redneck.
Why do you know that?
Guys, you're missing the key thing in this whole thing. Somehow, even with the conference championship and 40 outlines that obviously each conference champion would be in the playoffs, the Pac-12 would still find a way to be left out of the playoffs.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So the Pac-12, how do they end up being the only conference that doesn't get in? Because
they would still figure it out.
Because that one holds pretty tight. There's a few Pac-12 teams that are moved to the Rocky Mountain, but for the most part, the core Pac-12 is there, and they would find a way to not make the playoffs. So who is, looking at this grouping, fellas, who is the dog shit conference? Because I have my feelings on it.
I think the Yankee conference is the dog shit conference. When you're talking about football, especially.
Yeah, let's just do football. Let's not talk basketball.
Yeah,
right
no. If you're looking at football, it's like
paying attention to other sports.
It's Penn State. And
no, dude, no, the Mid-Atlantic. Are you serious?
Well, at least the Mid-Atlantic has Clemson.
I was gonna say,
no. First of all, real question: who is that green team in the middle of the top row right there?
In the middle of the top row, in Mid-Atlantic? I think that's Coastal Carolina, right?
Sure.
I thought you kicked them out.
Oh, I don't know then.
But I mean, okay, look at these. This is how you know. Look at the strongest team in each conference, and if you look at the Yankee, it's Penn State, and if Penn State is your strongest team, then that's got to be your weakest division.
It's got to be. I 100% agree.
But Scott, think about how good Penn State will be when they don't have to play like a real team anymore.
And I mean, that's fine,
but nobody's they'll be fine.
But nobody's still really scared of them overall. Like, it's just like all the other conferences has a team that you're like, all right, well, they've won titles with.
I think
then you get to play the excuse of like, well, we build our team for conference play. When we get out of it, it's really tough.
Yeah, that's true. I think Great Midwest West has a claim to being one of the dog shit conferences
What a
too.
dumbass name. Great Midwest, Great Mideast.
Because they got Wisconsin, who we know is gonna look great for 12 weeks, and then they're gonna shit down their
Then
leg.
they're gonna shit down their
Dude,
leg.
I'm gonna be honest. NDSU is gonna pop up and surprise some fools.
But I also Forde also mentioned in
They're
that
a quality
article
program.
Again, a legit claim. Recruiting would be a lot easier because you have guys who want to go to these schools because they're like, all right, well, if even though it's a lower tier school in the eyes of many, if I get to go to this school and play, such and such teams, like how awesome is that for them? Like it's a lot, like the smaller schools would have a lot easier time recruiting against the big teams than they do now.
I think when I first saw this, I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I hate everything about it. And then the more I looked into it, the more and more I really love the idea. And
I
now,
gotta ask the question though, Mike. How many fingers of Jameson did you have as you looked into it?
it was straight
Not
bourbon.
enough.
It was straight bourbon. It was Buffalo Trace. I was drinking Buffalo Trace at the time. But it was
That explains a lot.
a decent amount because I'm a big fan of this. I want this to happen.
No, seriously, this is one of those things where I'm like, when college football does certain things, it's like when they got the playoffs, I watch more games. Like if they did something like this, I watch more games. Like for the casual I don't have any allegiance. Like this interests me because all of a sudden those matchups that are conference matchups where you're like, oh, well, in a normal scenario, if Alabama's playing, the Ragin' Cajuns, you're not necessarily watching. But if it's a conference matchup and that game is in Ragin' Cajun, land, I mean, just for the interest, even if Alabama goes there and blows them out, it's the fact that Alabama has to travel there.
Well, and there's already conference
See,
blowouts
that's
anyways.
oh man.
Look at Alabama whenever they play Vanderbilt. Like it happens already. Like
Right.
people that are against this because they're like, well, Alabama will blow out the Raging Cajuns. It's like, yeah, well, Alabama blows out a lot of teams in the conference.
But Vandy is still seating 80,000 people in that stadium, of which Alabama gets a cut.
But again, it doesn't matter. So that even more draws into the fact of like, great, this levels the playing field. Now Alabama isn't benefiting just from the fact that they're getting a cut of the 80,000 that are going to see them play Auburn or Tennessee or Vanderbilt. They're taking less money because they have to play in a 30,000 seat stadium.
Right. And you think they're going to do that? You think Nick Roll Tide Saban's going to take less money to beat up on some fool when he can go beat up on some other fool for more money?
I mean, look, there's obviously hurdles that need to be overcome here. Number one, OWGs have to die out. That's step one. We have to kill off some OWGs in order to get this to work.
Because more OWGs aren't being created every day because that's not a thing.
We need some
should kill off
YWGs.
OWGs just in principle.
I'm pretty sure that's what Corona's trying to do. We're just not doing a great job at it. We're killing off the wrong
No,
ones.
we're doing a fantastic job with
I don't know, man.
COVID
45 still kicking, so
that's a good point. This has been Alternate Reality. Thank you guys for bearing with us as we kind of went through that, I guess.
I thought this was conspiracy theory.
Well, I don't have an extra drop, so I just
Also, yes, James Madison should have been called up. They a quality ass school.
Also, guys, while you're at it and you're hanging out, go on over and hit up craftbrewsports.com/shop. We got all kinds of stuff there. T-shirts, tank tops, men's, women's styles. Get some gear, rep the show, spread the word.
Hockey jerseys coming soon.
God, I would love that. craftbrewsports.com/shop. Hit that up. All right, fellas, let's do this segment. This was something that Scott was really looking forward to, something that he wanted to hit on pretty heavy. We're going to do a little COVID chaos. This is where Scott is going to break down all the crazy news that's happening in the sports world as it relates to COVID. And specifically, you wanted to talk about some MLB stuff that's going on, Scott?
Just as I predicted, this whole MLB thing is a shit show and a sham. You had players opting out this week. Mike Leake was the first domino to fall, who got drafted by the Reds, used to play here in Cincinnati, is now a Diamondback, which if you asked me before this week where Mike Leake played, I would have said Seattle. I think that was the last team I heard him play for. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Mike Leake opted out shortly after Ryan Zimmerman. Then you had Ian Desmond, and all these guys are basically saying, look, I'm not going to risk my family and my well-being for this whole thing. Like, I'll just sit over here on the sidelines and let you guys take care of this. And I feel like there's going to be more guys that do this, but I still also think that, again, like, it doesn't really matter once they get all of these guys together, and they don't really have this plan. Because when you look over at the NBA, Silver just announced today that, we have everything as far as like what we're going to do and this bubble idea and how everything's going to go down, but COVID could shut this all down at any moment. So it's all kind of tentative anyway. You also had the NFL today canceling 2 preseason games, which most people I'm sure saw the news and thought good, because, they've only been talking about that for, the past few years now in the collective bargaining agreement, how they wanted to eliminate 2 games, make it 18. And, everybody's always been in favor of eliminating 2 preseason games. The difference here is eliminating 2 preseason games this time isn't because of anything that they actually wanted to do. It's just them trying to vamp harder than Mike for time to figure this whole thing out and see how other sports do it. So in this instance, canceling 2 games is another red flag of I'm telling you, we're not going to get fall sports. Like, none of this is going to happen. We better get ready to hear us talk about sit, chug, and pouring deuces, farts, and piss for the next 6 months of the year, because there isn't going to be any fall sports.
Guys, so listen. If there are no fall sports that happen, if football gets canceled, if basketball doesn't play, if the MLS tournament goes away, if golf gets shut down, if there's no baseball, you boys got you. Craft brewed sports, major league eating, and I will break down every major league eating contest. I'll get Badlands Booker on the show. Maybe we'll talk to Chiger. We could bring him in and talk about him going up against Joey Chestnut at that last minute call up. Are you kidding me? All because Matt Stoney can't make it in from California. Here we go, baby. Craft brew sports.
We're gonna have
major
to
league
break
eating.
down that 370 person list. Is what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to go name by name.
I don't even.
And I'm
know
gonna
where
have to
plug
rely on
in
you
here.
guys, because I don't even know
I'll be
370 of them.
Yeah, I know. I know you got that parent safe filter on at your house there, Scott. So yeah,
I
that's
have
gonna be a
no
little tough for
idea.
you to do that research.
So you're still super pessimistic here, Scott. You have no optimism that this is going to come together and play out.
No, I don't see any way, because as soon as you had NCAA, teams getting back together, almost immediately they were shutting things down. The NFLPA this week announced, that they were pissed off that the players are still working out together, despite them saying, hey guys, don't work out together. Yeah. And Tom Brady, in the midst of, Tampa Bay Buccaneers officials having things going on there with COVID, he's still doing it. I don't think there's any way that sports are going to happen. I mean, we're moving the hot dog eating contest indoors, for Christ's sake.
But we're still having it, Scott. And it's indoors, and
because it doesn't involve touching anything but a hot dog.
The record
just
will
like that
be,
list of 300 some porn stars.
Right. I mean,
that's a hot dog down a hallway, though. That's a whole different scenario. This is a hot dog in an eating
socially
contest.
Distance hot dog down a hallway, you're saying. Look, man, here's the real deal about it. So, obviously you two guys are on opposite sides here on different extremes. The reality is like the question comes down to, do we want to figure this shit out or not? Because other places have. They figured it out in Germany. They figured it out in England. They figured it out in fucking Korea, for Christ's sake. They've been playing baseball there for 4 fucking months. And I mean, okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm not that much up on Korean newspapers and whatnot, but like,
but they're not still in the midst of it, are they? Like, they're not.
We're all, dude, Scott, we're all in the fucking midst of this. If there's one case, there's a billion. It really doesn't matter. The problem is the transmission. The problem is that Americans are too goddamn stupid to respect what's being told, the ways to stop this shit.
Well, yeah,
Damian
that's
Lillard
why it's
nailed
not
it
happen.
when he said that, like, look, I don't trust that all the players are going to follow all the rules, and basically based upon that, we're going to go in there and just kind of see what happens, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like,
Speaking of
the
the
issue is
rules,
that in America, we don't like to think about anyone but ourselves. And because of the way our society is, we just do whatever the fuck we want. And, the rest of the consequences be damned. So, like, if we want to come together and figure out how to have football happen, we can have football happen. But if we don't, then we're not going to. And that's the problem, is that there's ways that this can work and there's ways that it can fall apart. But for that to actually, either one of those things to go down, people make decisions. And this country is way too full of idiots to figure this shit out. I will tell you right now, the one sport that I think will happen will be the NHL, because they'll move all those people into Canada, they'll quarantine for 2 weeks, and those Canucks will figure it out and be like, look, guys, let's just all be, good neighbors to each other, eh? And, we'll figure it out. We'll play a little puck, and if someone's a little sick, we'll just pull them out and it'll be all right. They've had it work in Germany. They've had it work in England. Players have tested positive. They've removed them from competition. They've quarantined. They've gotten healthy. They've come back and played and finished their season. The question is, if all these dumbass idiots want to play ball by the rules set down by very smart people who understand what's happening, or we just want to keep fucking dicking around and, shooting hot dogs on hallways.
Matt Barr.
Sorry. I know you guys are supposed to be on opposites, and I was supposed to be the middleman, the wild card, but
this is a new segment that I like. It's going to be called Drew's Soapbox, and this is where Drew goes off on something that he's very passionate about. That
because I'm fucking right. That's what it
loosely
is.
ties to sports in some way. Matt Barr also 100% right. NHL, they will figure it out. Thank you, Matt Barr, for that dynamite drop.
Absolutely, they will.
So you mentioned, Drew, that other countries are able to play by the rules. Is that because they may not have had like the toughest rules? And the reason why I say that, England is opening back up bars on July 4th. And when they do that, they've gotten permission to show soccer matches on the TVs. However, they're not allowed to have sound, and the people watching in the bars are not allowed to chant or cheer in any way. Like, they have to sit there quietly and watch the game. How much do you think a soccer hooligan in England is going to abide by those rules?
Well, they're not. And let's just be very, very clear here. This has nothing to do with the transmission of COVID. And this is literally trying to reduce the occurrences of stabbings, because these people have been cooped up for too long and not able to be raucous. And so what they're afraid of, is when you keep that caged lion caged up for too long, that then they explode and maul like 4 people. And so what they're hoping for is they say, don't cheer, don't chant, whatever. And so there's a couple outbursts, and it's no big deal, and it's no problem, and no one dies, not because of COVID, but because of hooligan violence. They just want to ease back into the routine beatings that happened before soccer matches. Because if they let it all go hell's loose, an entire neighborhood may be eliminated.
Did you guys see that there's the idea has been floated of potentially moving the college football season to the spring?
Of course it has, because everybody knows there's not going to be fall sports. Like I said, from the get-go, before that rant that derailed us.
The Ivy League...
I'm sorry, before all the facts got dropped on your face?
My face is so clean.
The Ivy League has come out and said they may just play in the spring anyways, because they just play each other and they don't do anything. They're just like, whatever. We play 6 games because we're the Ivy League, and nobody really comes here to play football anyways, except for my cousin Marky, who went to Brown and was a pretty baller running back for Brown. Anyways, that's the Ivy League. But Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma said, yeah, I'm actually involved in conversations that we could potentially move to the spring. I don't know what I would do if college football moved to the spring. I might lose my mind. I'm not gonna lie. I would be
lose your mind.
What's that?
Get ready to lose your mind.
Well, if it happens, just be ready to see me out with an AK and a pink polo shirt tucked into my white shorts out on the front lawn, because I'm going to be furious that college football got moved to the spring.
I will be there to videotape it.
No, you need to be there with a little tiny gun, finger on the trigger, ready to shoot as well. I don't know
what am I shooting. What am I shooting?
I don't know. Why not? We're just going to shoot the sky, I guess. Scott, your pessimism worries me. I need you to be more optimistic about this. Buster Olney said he thinks there's a 1% chance baseball happens.
Buster Olney gave a 1% chance, and Buster Olney is super baseball fan.
He's tapped in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's all the way
Buster
there.
knows these players don't need this shit. That's what it is.
No, because Buster realizes
power.
Right, and he realizes 2 things. One, it's going to get to the point where enough guys opt out to where, again, it won't be worth it for them to have these games. And 2, they're going to get together and it's going to get shut down prematurely because everything breaks out and these guys can't, there are going to be too many guys contracting it. Or as soon as they report for the spring training, everything's going to happen and they're never going to get to the games.
When
mean,
when I saw him say there was a 1% chance, my reaction was very Dumb and Dumber because I was like, "So you're telling me there's a chance?" That's all I care. Like, give me a glimmer of hope. That's all I want is the possibility that this is a real thing. I don't want somebody shitting on my dreams, Scott, telling me that it's not going to happen. Let me live in my bubble. Phrase on purpose on that one. Let me live in my bubble that this is actually going to happen.
I mean,
Stop
I
being
hope
so
there's sports.
contrarian.
I just don't.
What would you
see
set
a
the
way it's
percentage
gonna
at?
happen.
What would you set the percentage at?
I think Buster's nailed it. We're talking 1 to 2%.
for baseball.
Well, yeah, no, for baseball, but I think football's in big trouble too. Like, because think about it, in baseball, like baseball is a non-contact, and you're saying they figured it out in other countries. Yeah, they figured it out with soccer, where again, there's some sort of like distancing. Like football, man, these guys are standing next to each other, they're lined up next to each other, they're touching each other nonstop. At least in baseball, there's some type of like separation. There's like football, I think is out. Like 100%. Like I don't think there's any chance for football. Like baseball having a 1% chance should feel pretty good because I don't think football stands a single chance.
Well, not the way that they planned it right now, for sure, because football thinks they're just going to go, course as usual. They said,
right? No, yeah. I mean,
they're going to do a home game and away game for every team.
Yeah, no. The NFL thinks that they're above COVID, just like they think they're above everything. They think they can
like every
just
other
do whatever
American.
they...
Exactly, Scott. That's my
Right.
fucking point, man.
Well, no, but and that's what I'm saying. Like the NFL, though, there's no chance. I give it a 0% chance. And the colleges are smart enough to say, we'll move it to spring because it's like whatever. But the NFL, they'll try and fail miserably. But I don't even think it's going to get to actual games on the field. Like I said, they're going to get to these camps and guys are going to get in and get it. I mean, think about all the outbreaks of other shit that have happened in locker rooms that weren't as serious as COVID.
So in all seriousness, I did see an article today where this guy was talking about college football in general. This doctor who his whole job is to predict models based on data. So he's not like a doctor, but he's like a math doctor.
He's not an MD, he's a PhD.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you. I appreciate. Yeah, the much easier kind of doctor to be.
That thing that
all you
anyone
had to
could
do
get.
was read books. Okay, nerd.
Right.
Anyways, he was looking at models and he said that if college football goes on as scheduled, he sees 3 to 7 players dying as a result of playing the college football season. Like that's where his models are at. And when I read that, I was like, oh man, we ain't getting college football.
Exactly.
Because one player dying is too many players dying for me to sit there on a Saturday and watch a game.
Is it though? Because didn't Maryland kill a guy last year?
Oh yeah, well that's a good point. Okay, let's talk higher or lower. But I don't watch Maryland.
Well, but but the thing was, Mike, it's tough when someone dies and you can't control it, right? And like that's what happened in Maryland. Oh wait, they could have saved his life.
I feel like
didn't.
I feel like we're opening ourselves up here to some Brian Kelly jokes. Let's move on. Moving on. Let's get to
Brian Kelly did kill a guy.
Higher or lower? Higher or lower is what we're gonna play next, guys. Real quick game here.
Man, we're gonna end this on like a really shitty note.
No, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna bring us back up. We're gonna get over all this.
Involve Kelly Kapowski because that's what I need in my life.
It does not. But Cam Newton signed with the Patriots for the vet league minimum this week. Lot has been made, and I figured this was a perfect day to do this, with this being Bobby Bonilla Day. Bobby Bonilla making $1.19 million today for not having played since like 2000. But Cam's deal, the low end, the guaranteed money is $1.05 million. If he gets all of his incentives, it goes up to $7.5 million. So that's his ceiling, is 7.5. So what I did for the purposes of this game, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you guys some players. You tell me if they are making more or less than Cam Newton this year. And we'll go off of his median. We'll just say he gets half of his incentives. So he makes $4.275 million this year. I'm going to throw out a name. You guys tell me.
Damn, son, you did math.
I did, and I actually did median too, not even like me. I was very specific.
I am screwed with this game, but let's go.
All right, here we go. So I'm gonna say a name. You tell me if he makes more or less, higher or lower, than Cam Newton's median salary for this year. We're gonna start off with Tua from the Dolphins, rookie QB. Rookie QB Tua Tagovailoa. Is he going to make higher or lower than Cam Newton, former MVP and likely starting quarterback for the New England Patriots?
Higher, guaranteed first round money. That's an easy softball.
Mook, what do you got?
Oh, I think it's close, but I'm gonna say higher because I think it gets like $5 million a year on his rookie.
Yeah,
deal.
he was a
Higher
top
is
10
correct.
pick.
Yes, $5.5 million is what Tua will be making this year. Let's go with another very well-known quarterback, Super Bowl winning champion, Patty Mahomes. Is he going to make more or less than
Hall of
Cam
Famer
Newton?
Patty Mahomes.
Yes. Will he make more or less than Cam Newton than Cam Newton's median this year?
More.
More. You're going to say Patty Mahomes makes more than 4.275. Drew, what do you got? More or less?
I feel like it's got to be more, but you wouldn't ask if I feel like this is a trick question.
It is a trick question. You are right. Patty
I'm gonna say
Mahomes will be
lower.
making $2.795 million this year.
He's still on his rookie deal, and he did not have a great rookie deal.
He had a horrible rookie deal. He's about to make bank after that. All right, how about a good friend that my son once pushed his kids off of the playground? Andy Dalton, backup quarterback for the Cowboys. Andy Dalton, higher or lower?
Lower.
He was on a 1-year deal. Just throwing that out there, just letting you know in case you were wondering.
Lower.
1-year deal. Drew, higher or lower for Andy Dalton?
I'm gonna go higher. I mean, he's getting that quarterback money. He's a veteran.
Barely lower. $3 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be lower.
But way higher than Cam's guaranteed 1.05. All right, let's do Danny Amendola, wide receiver for Drew's favorite Detroit Lions. Higher or lower?
I know for a fact he's making higher.
Yeah, I think he's getting like $7 million a year.
He's
right now.
he's overpaid as a son of a bitch.
He had a balloon deal at
because
the end of that
Detroit
contract.
signed that deal, so you know they're overpaying him.
That is correct. $4.968 million is what Danny Amendola is making this year. Richie Incognito, guard for the Las Vegas Raiders. Higher or lower?
And noted bigot. He's
Yes.
definitely making higher.
Lower because he has several liens against his salary.
I don't know that fact. Very possible, but it is higher. He will make $6.75 million this year.
Of which 5.2 will go to the court fees and costs for all his assault charges.
How about this one? Thomas Morstead, punter for the Saints. Higher or lower?
He's asking because it's a punter, so it's got to be Morstead's got to be higher.
Drew, higher or lower?
I mean, I love anyone who kicks the ball. I want to see him make more, so I'm gonna say higher.
It is higher. $4.3 million is what Thomas Morstead
Fucking
is going to
football!
make.
You got to be kidding me, man.
Speaking
To kick a football occasionally.
of kickers, and this
the Saints
one,
don't kick a lot. They don't punt a ton.
and
Either Breeze throws an interception or they kick a field goal or score a touchdown.
there's no points involved. Like you don't. Let's at least this guy, Robbie Gould, kicker for the Niners. Higher or lower? At least he's scoring points.
Oh, I know this one because Gould signed that stupid franchise tender, so he's making more.
Yep.
Yep, $5.1 million is what Robbie Gould will be making this year.
Which I'll argue he deserves because, again, he's going to have to kick a lot with that shit-ass quarterback they got there.
All right, we got 2 more. I'm going to do 2 more for you guys.
Man, nothing, Scott? Really?
Nah, you weren't gonna shake me with that one. That was low hanging fruit. I'm just gonna let that one roll off.
That's fair.
Alex Smith, former quarterback, potentially, maybe quarterback again for the Washington football team. Alex
Does he
Smith.
still have 2 legs?
He's working out again. He will not be playing this year, just as a qualifier.
I'm pretty sure that the Washington R's are still paying Albert Hainsworth some money, so they got that Bobby Bonilla thing going. They don't care about just throwing money away. There's no doubt that Alex Smith is making more than Cam to not play football the past 2 years.
Mook, higher or lower?
I'm gonna go higher because
He
Rob
signed out
Schneider
a
just
really
Rob,
big deal.
Rob Schneider just throws money around. You know what I mean?
So does Daniel Snyder.
No.
Deuce
Rob
Bigelow.
Schneider owns that team. Let's be honest, because at least he's funnier.
Deuce Bigelow signed Alex Smith. Yes,
Yep.
Alex Smith, and Matt Barr is right. Way higher. $16 million is what Alex Smith will make this year without having to take a snap.
Also, fun fact, Rob Snyder is a huge 49ers fan.
Really? I did not know
Yep.
that. Okay, cool. All right, here's one. This is Cam's team. This is Patriots guard Joe Thuney. What do you think of that one? Higher or lower?
Lower.
Drew, higher or lower?
Pass.
The answer is also way higher. Thuney is making $14.781 million this
Holy
year
shit.
as the guard.
Okay. Let's be fair. Belichick is not paying a single dime of that. He's going to unload that contract on the Browns because they're always the suckers, or the Cardinals. One of those sad sack franchises that is consistently bad will take on that contract. Bill ain't paying a single dime of that.
Here's what
Right, because Robert is, you dummy.
I included this one because I love the idea of you know how like whenever something good happens, the quarterback like takes his line out to dinner, or like he buys him a present or something. I would love to see Cam be like, "Listen, I got you guys this," and Thuney to be like, "Nah, man, I got you. Like, don't worry about it. I got you because you know what I mean." 14.781, you got 1.05. I got you on this one, man.
But he's gonna need to save that all for the dementia treatment as old age. So like he may not. Was that too real?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Talking about college football players dying of COVID wasn't, but that crossed the line.
It's 2 weeks in a row for you, Mook. Good job.
Just made me laugh.
At least I didn't drop a hard R.
You did not.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Also,
JD
great
wasn't here,
transition.
though.
Great transition over to our sponsor, Tavor. This is Last Call. Shout out to Tavor, where we go to stock up our beer fridges. Use the code 258023 on the payments and credit screen. Get $10 off your second order. Normally, we go to Tavor for our beers, but this week, we had our friend Sarah Mula some in from Fairbanks, Alaska. This week's beer of the week was their Maibock 7% ABV beer. Again, they said hints of honey, candy sugar, clean hops, balanced flavor, 3.87 caps on Untapped out of HooDoo Brewing. Scott, we were rating this one on the Game of Thrones scale because HooDoo reminded me so much of Hodor. So on a scale of Ramsay Bolton all the way up to Danny, where did the Maibock fall?
It started off as Rob Stark and ended up closer to Ramsey. I mean, this beer was a slightly fancier Budweiser. I mean, it's fine, but I didn't taste anything other than just a generic beer.
Wow. Okay.
Like, I don't know if I was missing something, but there's no sweetness to this beer. I mean, it's fine.
Interesting. How many Maibocks
I mean,
have you
Ramsey
had?
had some redeeming qualities too before he became a super hardcore rapist.
Drew, you only knew Danny. That was the only character from Game of Thrones that you knew. Are you sticking with that for your rating?
Wait, I thought her name was Khaleesi.
Yeah, that's like that's like her title, Khaleesi.
Oh.
Sarah doesn't
Well-
speak Game of Thrones, so I'll just say this beer mostly sucked.
I was gonna go with Jesse because I'm going throwback to Saved by the Bell ratings, and it was nice.
I thought you were
Like-
gonna go as in like Breaking Bad, like Pinkman.
Nah, it wasn't that good. I love Jesse Pinkman. I mean, that guy, he changed Walter's life for the better. He let him live life as he was dying from cancer.
Yeah, science.
Exactly, right? And that's the thing is I've asked my dad this many times. He's a chemist. Like, why are we cooking meth, Dad? Like, shit, why are we working this hard? Like, let's just bake some blue meth and like be done with it. But I don't know. Anyways, I called it a Jesse. Like, it was good. It was all right. Like, it went down smooth. There wasn't a ton of flavor, but at the same time, like, I'm not mad about it. So, yeah, it was a Jesse.
I am going to call this one Samwell Tarley. That's where I'm going on this one. And here's why I say Samwell. Because
Fat and worthless.
No.
Oh, okay.
Wrong. I was going to say because he's very reliable. He's the dude that's always there, level-headed, can make the right decisions at the right time. This is a beer that I would go back to constantly. That 7% is sneaky. Like, this does go down like it's a 4.5% beer. So the fact that this is 7 and it's packing a little bit of a punch is great. Plus, as we're getting into the summertime, this is a beer that you can crush during the summer because I know I got made fun of on the Craft Brew Sports group on Facebook for repping porters and stouts even in the summertime. But if it's 90 degrees out, this is a beer you can have and feel fine doing so. I think it's crisp. It does balance very nicely. I did did get some of the sweetness on this one. So it's a very solid go-to option. That's why I'm going to go Samwell on this one.
So you're saying it's a Samwise Gamgee?
Sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was a beer.
We drank it.
Also,
yeah,
the best looking can I've ever seen. The can is
It's a pretty
gorgeous.
cool looking.
yeah. The can stepped it up
brand.
more than the beer.
damn. Okay, this has been Last Call, brought to you by Tavor. Again, use the code 258023 on the payments and credit screen for $10 off your order. Sarah's about to be pissed at you guys for shitting on this beer, man.
I didn't shit on anything. I said it was a decent beer. Also, I'm surprised Devore hasn't cut me off yet. Like,
Dude,
let's
you
be real
have
about that.
60 beers coming next
60
week.
cans coming.
60. That's unreal. Also, Matt Barr saying he just started his Game of Thrones rewatch. Matt Barr, hit me up. Let me get them HBO Max credentials, bro, because I want to go back in.
Still fishing for him after mine expired, huh?
After yours
Hey,
went
man.
out, I was like, I'm going to get them.
All I'm saying is-
Anybody got them credentials? You got
You
them,
don't need no credentials. You've got a private VPN.
got them logins? You got them logins?
I don't know if you know this, Joe Rogan, but I need credentials.
Also, I will have to get it, especially if Hard Knocks does end up happening in August. I probably will sign up at least for Hard Knocks. And then
Oh my
cancel
God,
after
I
that.
would pay
Yeah,
for that.
Hard Knocks COVID. It's just a black screen.
2 LA teams, bro. Both LA teams on this one. If
Yeah,
it
I can't
happens.
wait to sit them there watching them quarantined, not playing football. It's gonna be amazing.
Like, even more importantly, like, can you imagine watching Jared Goff talk in the quarterback room? Like, how boring would that shit be?
It's going to be pure comedy is what it's going to be. And that's why I can't wait to see it. This has been a fun show, fellas. I really I had a good time. Uh-oh. Somebody ripping on me in the comments again?
Yeah, he says you suck.
I mean, yeah. Welcome to
Yeah.
the show, Matt. But what are you,
Yeah,
new
right,
here?
Matt Barr just calling you out.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing the show,
Sarah,
for helping
thank you
us
for
out.
the beer. Do
Yes.
appreciate it.
Shout out to
Yes.
Sarah. Also, if you're listening and you want to give us beer to do on the show, I ain't gonna hate on that. So do that. Like, hit me up and let's figure out a way to
Hey,
socially
Sarah, you got
distance and
anything you want
drop
to
off.
plug? Anything you want to, toss out to our 6 viewers? 3 of which are us.
For those of you that are listening and still watching the show, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Crafty Sports. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. We're everywhere. Find us, subscribe, rate, and review. Leave us 5 stars. Help us out. You have no idea how much it helps in the rankings, so do that. Do us a favor and seriously subscribe, rate, and review. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see y'all next week after Joey Chestnut wins the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest again. See you guys.
Lisa Anna's top 5 for show.
Suck a dick, Zuckerberg.